We are in the City of Five Nations, and this is We Are City of Five Nations podcast, and it is our Police Positive, Fulfilling Your Dream series. We're in episode 5, and man, it's another great episode that we have for you. First, I want to bring on Major Rod Taylor. Major Taylor, man, this was your brain thrust, and I sure have had a lot of fun so far meeting police officers in the City of Five Nations.
It has been fun, Daniel, and we do have a lot of great officers at Shawnee Police Department.
Well, you're certainly one of them, and your heart has shown true to me over the last 4 episodes. Rod, you really care for this community. You and your wife volunteer, I know, and do a lot of different things around town. But what really, in your mind, makes the police department a special place for someone who might want to make a career of it?
I lost your audio a little bit, Daniel. Can you repeat that?
I can. What I was wondering is what makes the police department a special place in your mind for somebody who might be considering making a career of it?
Well, I think Shawnee is the perfect size community for the patrol officer because we have a lot of different special assignments after patrol. So the officer will come a couple of years, they're eligible to look for a special assignment other than just patrol to maybe specialize in just a little bit. So there are a lot of different opportunities here. And like we talked about before, the officer is going to see different parts of the city and won't be restricted to just one area. And so it'll give the officer a chance to see the different times through the different shifts and different times of day and night, whatever they choose that they want to work based on their seniority selection. They'll have a chance to do that. And it's a lot of fun when you have a city that's the size of Shawnee. It's just big enough for everybody, but it's not so big that it's overwhelming. So in your dialogue, and you're breaking in and out too, Rod, when you go away, I might ask you to go away and come back if you would. But what I heard was special, special, and special. It's a place where you can get special assignments. It's a special department. And man, we have a special officer that fits. And I'm going to let you go away, Rod, and I'm going to bring up Lieutenant Freeland Wood. And Lieutenant Wood, you probably are the most you have the most notoriety probably of anybody on the police force. That smile has something to do with it. But also, you've had a special assignment for quite some time. Let's talk about years past right now. Okay. You were at the high school and you saw generations go through our high school, haven't you?
Oh yes. Before I went to the high school, I was doing the housing. I was a housing officer for a couple of years, and my job there was to do community policing, in which you got out and played football, basketball. You just played with the kids and handed out, badges. And it was just a blessing because after that, I was asked by the principal to come to high school. And that actually helped because I knew some of the kids already from working in the housing projects. So it was a blessing. Shawnee High School was a great opportunity, and it was just something that I was my calling. I wanted to deal with kids and be a positive influence on them. So it was a great opportunity to work at Shawnee High School, and then it was also a blessing to come back here at the police department when I got promoted so I could work with some of my high school kids that were police officers. So it was a great deal.
It is great. And there's a lot of water under the bridge, and you spend a lot of time in the summers by the water. You have another special assignment out there. Tell us about that.
Right. I'm the supervisor over the lake, and I work with 2 officers that are actually two school officers that we're assigned out at the lake in the summertime. And Sean Parsons, who is now the officer at the Shawnee High School, and Alan Nichols, who's been at the middle school for 11 years. So it's a great deal out there. Again, I see all my kids, and I get to see kids from yesteryear. They come out and they visit with me. So it's a blessing.
Yeah, it's like grandkids, isn't it?
Oh man,
Kids with kids.
Yes, it's awesome. It is. It sure is. It's
Well,
great.
in talking about youngsters, I'm going to bring one more on, and you stay with us, Freeland, but I want to bring on Chrissy Brown as well. And Chrissy, we need some beauty added to this monstrous up here at the top. Freeland and I, go way back, but I would like to hear a story from you, if you would, about Freeland that you think is just the epitomization of Officer Freeland.
Freeland. Oh my goodness. Freeland's the Shawnee Police Department celebrity. Everybody
You're funny.
everybody knows Freeland. Probably the most frequent question we get when people call needing police, is Officer Freeland Wood on? Like that's not really how it works. He's not on all the time, but all walks of life, they know Freeland. And anytime I go somewhere, another agency, they ask, "Oh, you know Freeland Wood?" Everybody knows Freeland.
That's funny. Oh, that's sweet. That's funny.
It's so true. And Freeland, why is that? Why do you think in your heart, what's the attribute that you have tried to, and maybe just unconsciously, but you feel like maybe you've fostered out there that we all really do love Freeland Wood? What's up with that?
First of all, I was blessed. I had a great father and mother that raised me to be kind and forgiving. And so, having an opportunity to work with young people is just a blessing, because I wanted to mentor them. And, I wanted to let them know that they have opportunities out there. They don't, I grew up in low income housing. And so it was, I had goals when I was a kid. I wanted to be a police officer. And when I was a little kid, my cousin and I, we'd play Starsky and Hutch, that show. And
yes.
We knew we both wanted to be police officers when we were little kids. And he became a sheriff with Riverside County Sheriff's Department in California. And my dream was to be here in Shawnee. I wanted to serve a community that I love and I care about. And so having an opportunity to stay here and work here was just a blessing.
So, Chrissy, I know that you get to work with a lot of individuals, but I heard Freeland say two things: kind and forgiving. I haven't heard forgiving so much. In my life with Freeland, I've noticed that, and I haven't put that finger on it. What about you? Does that ring true?
Yes. Especially with Freeland. The funny thing about him is we have our regular patrons, just like any other business. And
Sure.
It probably doesn't matter if somebody's been arrested 12 times. Freeland Wood still has something positive to say about them, because he spoke about mentoring, and that's him. He still wants to have that positive effect or that positive impact on somebody, whether they're a child or an adult. But he's always, the cheerleader for everybody, which is great, because he has that positive mentality. And there's a lot of people that they need somebody behind them like that, especially somebody in the community like Freeland, because they may not have that elsewhere. So that's, that's a huge part that he plays.
Sweet, Freeland, and true. But maybe, hey, Chrissy, did you bring a question for Freeland?
No,
that maybe, this platform allows you to be able to ask that maybe otherwise you wouldn't be able to ask?
I've got a couple of questions for you, but tell me what's easier, dealing with the children or the adults?
At Shawnee High School, I dealt with a lot of stress because, you were always worried. You're always worried that something could happen. And so I would say dealing with the kids, because it wasn't the fact that they were just, I had a lot of ornery ones, but it was just the fact that you just worried about them and you didn't want anything to happen, at your school. And, now I'm at North Rock Creek, and I had 9 years on the street, and I got to go back to North Rock Creek School, where I'm back to that mentality of, you worry and you don't, you want to be there when something happens. And so probably, like I said before, it would be the kids would be my toughest challenge.
Hey, Chrissy,
because of the concern.
Chrissy, I only had 6 kids go through that high school, so there wasn't a lot of ornery runs. I think he blew it out of portion there.
You had great kids.
I plan on tracking mine through him too.
That's funny.
Well,
Funny.
if I had kids now, I'd probably send them to North Rock Creek simply because you're out there, Freeland.
Oh,
I'll say that unabashedly.
That's sweet.
So, Freeland,
That's
tell
nice.
us, I love to hear that it's been a dream of yours. We went to elementary school really together, and I didn't know that was particularly your dream, but I knew when I saw you becoming an officer that that was something that I sure liked. And so, Chrissy, when we talk about officers like that, how important is it that they're dedicated and they know that they're passionate about becoming a police officer? Do you notice that within all the individuals that you work with?
Yes, they're all passionate, but they're all passionate for different reasons. Freeland Wood, it is funny because we get to see the officers when they come in. They're fresh hired. They really haven't been out on the streets, and they'll come through dispatch and sit with us, and all of us kind of have that mentality. Oh, well, they're like an officer of Freeland Wood or whomever else, and we can see these different changes through them throughout their career. But I would say the ones that come in that have Freeland's mentality, where they're not, the goal is not to put everybody in jail. It's to make a change in the world. It's not because we want to get rid of everybody. It is to make a legitimate change that's positive in the community. And Freeland Woods are wonderful. The more the merrier.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that. It makes so much sense. Just that little switch, just that little nuance. And that's one of the things when I was privileged enough to be in that selection process with some of the candidates, is that when I came in, I had a misperception of that. In the sense of I kind of felt like, well, you want the cop that would have it under control and that could take the bull by the horns and, make it happen the right way. And really, that was not the case as I sat through. And then I watched who was selected. Being a police officer and having the mentality of a police officer as far as how we perceive that on the outside, I think that our perception is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Officers like Freeland, there are so many times that I see even, within my group of dispatchers that it's not that anybody needs to be pushed in the right direction, but when they're shown and then they can make the way on their own, which is kind of the way Freeland leads people, that's the goal. We want to make it so that, we're not having to do everything every day for the community. We want to teach the community how to do things differently and make an impact that's going to be for the better.
Yeah, and talking about an impact for the better, let's bring the two officers back on and get me a little bit smaller and down because we need to hear from them. Hey, Rod, I'm talking about Freeland Wood, and we've all thrown really wonderful things towards Freeland, and I know that he always gets all of that. Can you say anything bad about Freeland? Can you help us out here?
That's funny.
He's too nice.
That's funny.
And
That's,
it's such a compliment to hear them, Joe. And
that's sweet.
They always ask, what would Freeland say about this guy? Oh, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. And it doesn't matter how many mistakes the kid's made, he's a good kid. And I've just never heard him say, well, that's a terrible.
I did once.
All of the kids in Freeland's mind
funny.
had the potential to be great kids.
Amen.
And that's what I love about Freeland. He's the potential in the kids to give up on.
Well, in Freeland, as we get older, the kids get older, don't they? I mean, we talk like that about 30-year-olds now.
Well, it's funny is my oldest class is like 43. And so I got kids out there that are 43 years old, and I had at the high school and up to like 26. So it's crazy when or 27. So to think about it, it's makes me feel old.
Well, you don't look a day older than you did way long ago. Rod, do you have a question for Freeland?
Yes. So what was your preference? You've done so many things, and I don't know, did you ever have a chance to
to be an FTO?
I didn't. I spent almost all my time at Shawnee. I didn't actually get into any of the extra training. That it would have been nice to be an FTO. That's why I look forward to when I made supervisor, that I could kind of use that experience and that be an FTO to my guys that I worked under me. So, but I never was an FTO. But
Yeah,
So
I
as
think,
we start throwing around acronyms, realize we are all not officers. I think that means
that's fine.
field training
Training.
officer. Is that correct?
yes, yes, sir. I forgot.
Go ahead, Rod. I didn't mean to interrupt you, though I did.
No.
Well, Rod, tell us a story or two about Freeland, or about something that pulls Freeland and his attitude into why he makes such a wonderful police officer.
Well, that's easy. He has all the right qualities, because police officers need a lot of compassion and patience, and that's why I think he would have been an awesome field training officer. Is when the new recruits come in, Freeland doesn't know this, but I tell them, if you need a model to become like, you look at him and see
That's nice.
how he polices.
I can understand. Yeah, an effective police officer.
And,
Yeah, we are having
So-
trouble again with you, Rod,
Oh.
with some of your audio. I'm sorry
Okay.
to say that. But hey, Freeland,
Yes,
what
sir.
are some of the positions that you have held, and can you give recommendations for those positions as far as what new people might be able to attain?
Actually, I kind of I don't feel bad because I don't regret what I did, but I was a school resource officer. I was a housing officer, and I was the
Lake Patrol?
of course I was Lake Patrol, and of course as far as that goes, back when I was the school resource officer years ago, there wasn't anybody that was really interested in being a school resource officer, and I think probably that's why I was in the position for so long. And but now I have officers now that'll come to me and say that they want to take my place when I leave, and so that makes me feel good that we have officers out there that are interested in working with our youth, because it's important that we they're our future, and so it's nice, and they're also the future of our department. So it's nice to be a positive role model for them. So, maybe they will decide one day that they want to be just like him.
Yeah. Well, also, though, something you left out, weren't you like sergeant in the midnight shift as well? You did a lot of overnight stuff.
Yeah, I was also with the gang task force, but I was a sergeant under a great supervisor who actually helped me be the way I am now, and that was Major Taylor. Major Taylor was an excellent supervisor, and he was a positive role model. And I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be a guy that I know we got great ones now too, but you wanted to care about your guys. You wanted to they're your kids. Literally, they say your brothers and sisters here in this department, but the decades I've been here, they're my kids. And so, those kids, you don't want, if something happens to them, you're responsible. You feel responsible, so you take care of them. And you even though you got guys that are mentors, you got corporals and sergeants, but you're also mentoring them because you want to lead by example. And so so if you lead by example, your guys are going to do great. And I've been blessed on midnight shift. I had a great group of guys, and it's crazy. A lot of those guys are in special projects now, like CID, gang task, narcotics, and they're doing an awesome job, and I'm proud of them. It wasn't because of me, but it's just the fact that, it just makes me feel good because I do care about them, and I still do. And even our evenings and days, I've been blessed to work with those guys, and just to see those guys do great. And you still, even if they're not on your shift, you want to be a positive role model to them. And so I'm blessed to have a good supervisor, a great supervisor, and it helped me be a better one.
I can agree with that. Leadership
Better person.
really makes a difference. Leadership in your home, I heard, and leadership in your job have really molded your way for you. And that's a wonderful thing when we talk about a career, isn't it, Chrissy? Being able to have and work with people who you look up to as well as you want to protect.
Yes. And Freeland, we've always wondered, we've had the opportunity to see some other guys out in the field, whether it's ride-alongs or on the radio. You can tell when they're in a pretty heated moment, and there's not one of us in dispatch that know what Freeland Wood sounds or looks like when he's angry, or if he actually gets angry. None of us believe that he actually gets angry, so he's been great to work with.
Well,
it's one of our
sweet. I enjoy it. I enjoy our dispatchers. We got a great group of dispatchers. So thank you so much for all you do. Like I told my wife, and I've told everybody that works here, I would never make it as a dispatcher. You got to be able to multitask, and I don't have that.
Okay. I certainly understand that. I can relate, Bree. But Chrissy, do you have a question for Freeland maybe prepared that you'd like to just throw his way?
I've got a couple. With the school activities that you do participate in, I know that you work at the football games. I know that you help out with the assemblies and the different things at all the grade levels. What's your favorite activity to participate in with the schools?
Wow, they're all fun. I love, the security jobs were great because you got to watch the kids. It was a little stressful sometimes because you had to deal with the problems that come with that. But I think my favorite would be just walking the halls with them, getting to know them, when they, being involved when the principals are dealing with one in a negative way, being able to step in and mentor them and talk to them and calm them down. I try to treat them like they're my own child. And at the same time, when I have to yell at them or chew on them, when it's all over with, I can calmly talk to them and explain to them why I was that way. And then they understand it because you don't realize that, on the street, we deal with somebody, we may not see them again, but in the school, you deal with somebody negative, they're walking behind you tomorrow. So you need to be able to get to know them, get their trust, and then they realize too. I've written tickets to kids that, and I've had kids come up to me years later and say, thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I don't know where I would be. And so it makes it nice. You've made that relationship with them years down the road.
Hey, Freeland, we're coming into a time of applications and recruits actually being brought on or perhaps called in, and they have to do a physical fitness test. I know your whole life you've been gifted in that realm, but should somebody be afraid of becoming a police officer because they don't think that they can handle it physically? I was blessed that I did run a lot when I was younger, and I continued to run as I was an adult and through my career. And for the last 4 years, I should still be, but I'm not running near as much, but if any. But I think a kid, you can do this job. I've seen people that that get on that they've changed they've exercised, they've continued to work out and gotten stronger and more confident. But no, I don't think you should be afraid to try out or test for this job. This is the best job in the world. I've worked a lot of jobs, but I have no regrets. I had a supervisor ask me one time, do you regret how your career's gone? Do you regret not testing until 24 years on? No, I would not change a thing. I believe it's helped my kids. It's helped one of my sons tremendously. They're both doing amazing jobs right now. And so I have no regrets on this. I've been here 32 years and I'll probably do 35 or 36. But, it's just, I'm living out my childhood dream. This is what I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. And so it's hard to give it up. So, Rod, let me put you on the spot. I heard 30, he's done 32, maybe 36, 37. That's only 5 years away, man. We can't lose Freeland that quick. How far can he go? What is it in his career? How far can you go?
3. But, I know.
Can you answer that, Rob?
Kind of concerned.
I can tell you this. I know the major would love to get me in office. and I know he'd love to get me into an office so he knows he can keep an eye on me. I know that's how much we care. That's how much we care about each other. You know, we want our guys safe. And I know both him and the chief, I know they would love to have me somewhere where I'm not on the street and getting to the calls. But I mean, man, it's my life. I love this job. When I show up on a call, I know 90% of the people, and just being able to de-escalate it by just showing up. It's, you know, I want my guys safe. So I mean, so it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know that he wants you. I don't know that he wants you there to look at you, Freeland.
No, it's not to look at me. It's just to keep.
It might be because his eyes are getting a little worse, your eyes are getting a little worse, and he just wants to have 2 good eyes.
That may be it. That's great. That's great.
Oh man, I don't know that there could have been a better way, Chrissy and Major, to start this series than with the 5 guys that you have brought out. I mean, everybody seems so even keel. They love their job, but also they love the community, and they just want to help the community in any way that takes form, whether it be moving trees off the road or de-escalating violence from happening when they arrive.
They're a great group, and there's more of them, more than just the.
Yeah, why did you only bring me like the top 5? Why couldn't have I had some of the lower guys? What's up with that? Come on, we need some fodder.
There are some amazing officers at this department. We are so blessed to have these guys, and there's a lot of guys out there that are a lot better than I am, and so it's just a blessing to be here with them and to work with them and to see them grow. And you know, that's what I'm going to miss most about it, is when I leave, to see these guys and how great they are and where they're going to be at in 20, 30 years.
Well, let me ask you a question, Freeland. You were born and raised in our area, right? What is it about our area that nurtured someone like you to become such a fine adult?
Well, what's funny is, for me, I'm going to say I'm a fine adult, but I know one thing. I always say it takes a village to raise a child. And being raised, I'm Native American. My grandmother's Sac and Fox. I got a great, awesome uncle that took over when my dad passed away, and I had several of them. And so, like I said, it took a village to keep up with me. So I'm blessed to live in a town and a community that does care. And, and they do. Some of them don't know it, but they're making a difference. And it's just a great community, and I wouldn't live anywhere else. Shawnee's my home, and, I have no intent to leave it. And, because, like I said, why would you leave such a special place? I know we have our crime like everybody else does. As our population grows, so does your crime. But there's a lot more great people than there are bad ones.
Well, with an attitude like that, we can all learn from you, Freeland, and we do every time we're around you. I would like for you, if you don't mind, before I let you go, to give your best invitation to maybe young Freelands out there to stick in there and try to fulfill their dream of becoming a police officer.
Like Corporal Keene said, Corporal Keene is a very special person, and there's a lot of them just like him. But you have to care. Gosh, dogs. If you don't care, if you just need a job, this isn't the job. If you're looking for just a job, this is a career. You're going to make a difference in everybody's life. You got a guy driving through from New Mexico, passing through. The only contact he may have is you making that traffic stop. Even if you wrote him a ticket, just have a good attitude with him, and because you're going to remember that contact. And when he goes back home, all he's going to remember is how bad Shawnee, Oklahoma was. So, so if you could just be positive. So if you want to be a Shawnee police officer, you got to care. You got to have the want and you got to have empathy. You got to have compassion and sympathy. You got to be able to deal with people, and at the same time, you got to be able to deal with them in a way that, you can go from being that nice person to really serious, and they know it, but you got to care. And, Jay hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's very, very important. Jay does an awesome job. He would have been a sergeant, but he turned it down because he loves doing what he's doing and getting these criminals off the street. So, I mean, we have like I said, we have a lot like him that's turned opportunities down just to do what they love. And that's like when I did it, I didn't test for a long time because I'm doing what I love. And to be able to have the opportunity for the chief, the major, city manager, and Blake Moody to give me that opportunity to go to North Rock Creek to finish out my career, and I say it all the time, but it's just a blessing. God has blessed me, put me in a position that it's great. It's the greatest thing. And like I said, one day it's going to have to go, but it's been awesome. It's been amazing.
Well, we hope that day is a lot further away than what you may hope. Thank you very much for your time, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your time. Yes, it's always good to see you, friend.
You take care, sir. Bye.
Major Taylor, Chrissy, man, 5 in the City of 5 Nations so far. This has been great.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How do we top this off? What do we do? I mean, do we just continue trudging through?
Freeland can make this go viral. He's a one-man show.
Well, but I have to say, Chrissy, I mean, we put a lot of positive accolades on Freeland, but every single one that you have brought on has been a positive influence and has been very impressive for anybody that's watching.
Yes. It would be hard to say that I've got favorites as far as the shift, and I enjoy working with all of them, and they've all got great attitudes, and they want to, like I said earlier, they want to make a positive difference. And that makes a huge impact on how they work day to day.
Yes. Hey, Rod, sorry for the technical difficulties we've had for you today. Is there anything you'd like to share before we go?
We need more Freelands.
What do you mean? More Freelands, more Derricks, more Sylvias, more Riches?
Yeah.
Come on. These guys are all good. You're hitting it out of the park. I'm waiting. Like, I wasn't kidding when I was saying, okay, are we going to stumble anywhere in this process? Probably not.
Thank you so much.
Oh, okay, we're going to let you guys go. Thank you very much, and we get to see you again tomorrow, and I believe that's with Corporal Ruiz. Does that sound right? Ruiz. Okay. Ruiz. Okay, I'm stumbling. I've done it. Okay, I've done it. There we go. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. And
thank you.
You have been watching We Are City of 5 Nations podcast, and wonderful guest today, Freeland Wood. Many of us know and enjoy Freeland, and if not, he's a police officer. When he shows up, you'll meet him, and you'll think probably just like the rest of us. What a wonderful guy and a wonderful family. And what a wonderful place that we get to live in here in the City of 5 Nations, where all of us together, we are building community one season at a time. We sure hope that we get to see you again tomorrow.